As Boeing moves into 2025, the once highly regarded aerospace giant certainly finds itself at what I'd like to say is a critical juncture where it can really go either way. One would be filled with many positives, and the other is down a scary pathway that doesn't really see any signs of improvement. And when you're a company that dramatically needs things to change, that other way is going to present concerns. In 2024, challenges ranging from the delayed aircraft certifications to supply chain disruptions, quality control issues, and staff difficulties caused the company a great deal of trouble. However, 2025 will prove pivotal for Boeing's recovery efforts, with opportunities to stabilize its operations more than present alongside the strengthening of its relationship with customers and stakeholders, but it truly is in the plane maker's hands on whether it achieves these things. And ultimately, however, my talk of each year being pivotal is something I repeat every single calendar year. It is really now the task of the American plane maker to make this happen. Boeing's backlog of delayed certifications continue to be a major source of frustration for the company and its airline customers. The 737-7 and 737-10, which are crucial variants of the 737 MAX family, remain uncertified. Timelines extend further than anticipated, and there is uncertainty, which is the significant talking point here. The long-haul 777X has also faced repeated delays, pushing its entry into service into 2026 at best, with a 2027 entry into service more likely for some airlines. These certification delays disrupt airlines' fleet planning, and in a worst-case scenario, can really erode the confidence that they have in Boeing's ability to deliver on their promises, can lead to frustrations, and at worst, a desire for compensation. For airlines, the delays have certainly had a profound impact, with increased operational costs and a reliance on older planes, challenges meeting available passenger demand, and so much more. Carriers like Southwest and Ryanair, we know heavily depend on the 737 MAX series. They've had to adjust their growth strategies to cope with the delays. At the same time, United Airlines has also announced something similar, thanks to Boeing's inability to meet their own delivery targets. The ongoing effort by the American plane maker to restore itself as a leading aircraft manufacturer requires securing certification for these planes sooner rather than later. And furthermore, from there, you'd like to think that airlines will slowly be able to regain their faith in the company with each plane that is certified. A consistent theme for Boeing in recent years has been quality control challenges. I'm exhausted about talking about it, and no doubt you're probably exhausted hearing it, but these problems have hampered Boeing from top to bottom, with production rates, disrupted deliveries, and so much more. Even regulators scrutinize their operation taking place. Achieving a full year of stability in 2025 would be a massive milestone, allowing Boeing to prove that it really has attempted to turn the corner and is making meaningful progress for the first time in so long. And ultimately, these turnaround efforts will mean the company needs to really adhere to manufacturing standards that it has supposedly laid out. It has to make sure that if there are any flaws, it identifies them in a proactive manner. A stable production environment really would be a massive signal of improvement for customers, ensuring that reliability has finally entered those production halls. This could lead them to rebuilding their output rates, allowing for the growth to finally be achieved at a more optimal rate. Moreover, stability is also, we know, tied directly to the financial health of Boeing. Quality issues can be a costly rework, and we've seen that in 2024, with major investments in the company's safety culture and so many other avenues to try and build for the future. Boeing can't afford another year to continue incurring these expenses, and certainly can't have its production capped even longer, as its financial health has only worsened recently. Frankly, a year without financial disruptions would go a great way to facilitate their recovery efforts. From the first week of 2024, the Federal Aviation Administration has maintained a pretty hefty oversight into Boeing's operation after a door blowout incident affected an Alaska Airlines 737 MAX jet. While this oversight was necessary to ensure that safety would remain present, it has ultimately affected the operation and limited production rates, leading to mounting delays and a general inability to get planes off on time. Higher production rates, particularly for the 737 MAX, are no doubt going to be essential to clearing that all-important backlog that has it built up and ensuring that they're financially stable for the long term. This is no word of a lie. The plane maker has come out on several occasions and said that increasing production is pivotal to this. Airlines are already eager to receive their aircraft to meet their own demand for air travel, and any delays can have pretty negative ramifications for their current and future business, and maybe even affects the plane maker's attempt to win over future contracts. For Boeing, scaling production also supports their overall revenue growth, and with so much concern on that financial performances, like I keep saying, these increases have to come sooner rather than later, but it's almost in their hands at the same time being out of it. They have to prove to the FAA that they've done all the work possible to really show meaningful improvements. So while they can do that, they're waiting for the FAA to give them the all clear. Boeing must have really implemented this new culture to focus on the safer practices when producing its planes, but also going as far as allowing employees to speak up about their concerns without feeling, say, pressured or undermined. As Boeing's CEO, meanwhile, Kelly Ortberg, faces the daunting task of steering the company through one of its most challenging periods, 2025 will arguably be the year where his leadership must leave a positive mark on the business. Ortberg was appointed the CEO in 2024 to rebuild the company, and his introduction was immediately met with challenges, most notably the strike action that we saw take place over a multi-month period. Now, however, Ortberg has a clear pathway where he's got to demonstrate a commitment to more long-term improvements rather than short-term fixes to make sure this is a company that can eventually return to its former glory. Many argued that his appointment is a fantastic one, but some really want to see those changes take place now. While 2024 was tough, the last 5 years following the pandemic outbreak certainly exposed some issues in the supply chain at Boeing. While this is not isolated to just this plane maker, we have to say many others were impacted, it's the focus of today's proceedings. As a result, 2025 will be essential for Boeing to try and streamline supply chains and ensure that potential further niggles do not worsen any more than they already are to what is an incredibly sensitive operation. Disruptions have major effects, and for Boeing have certainly not aided their overall performance in the last 5 years. The top priority is rebuilding the supply chain through continued investment in this avenue and ensuring that there is greater innovation, communication, and technologies to try and streamline the process. One critical avenue could be that of Spirit Aerosystems. We know responsible for producing key aircraft sections. They've equally been under fire alongside Boeing, and consolidation is part of the American plane makers' attempts to really bring everything under one roof. They feel that if they can do this, they'll have greater control over the day-to-day operations. Finally, Boeing's success in 2025 will also depend on the strength of its workforce. After years of restructuring and uncertainty, Boeing's workforce has been hit hard. These employees have been pressured, overworked, and really just emotionally beaten and bruised. So Boeing must ensure that they create an environment in which their employee base is appreciated. However, also attracting the industry's top talent is core focus to build strength for the long term. Boeing, well, they have another important year on their hands, and not for the first time. If the plane maker can achieve a smooth 12 months, it would be crucial for the rebuild and allow it to move into 2026 in arguably its probably best shape for around a decade. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you believe 2025 will look like for Boeing, and generally what are some key talking points you'd like to see ironed out or improved on? Let me know, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in a couple of days for your latest industry recap.